So, yeah, they're all connected. That's why she always asks which shop you work at sometimes.
Well, good morning. I'm sitting here looking at this. See, yeah, I muted the mic there for a second. It's back live. Boy, this is kind of an unusual thing for me because what I'm doing is I'm using the YouTube live function, which now means you just click on something on YouTube and it brings up live streaming. Yeah. Before in the past, you had to actually buy software, and then you would bring up the software, and then you would start your encoding, and then you'd have to go to the YouTube site, and you'd have to make certain that your software was now logging into YouTube so that it could stream, and then you'd have to check to make certain the stream was running and all this other stuff. And it was a real pain in the butt. I did it a couple of times, and it was more trouble than what it was worth. So I didn't do it. But now there's a button. There's a button at the top of the YouTube page, and it says you can click on it. It's a camera, and it says either upload video, which I usually do, or go live. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm down at Little Amps. That's why there's a lot of background noise. I actually got out this morning. I decided that I didn't want to sit in and, veg in front of my computer after being out Friday night, after being out last night. And yesterday afternoon, I decided to go for the trifecta and get out. I don't know if they're skating today. I may actually go skating because I haven't been on skates since Wednesday due to a fall I took, and it hurt my butt real bad. But I came down here to Little Amps on State and Second because with it being Easter Sunday and there's a couple of churches nearby, I knew the coffee shop would be open because this will be a busy morning for them. I think I was down here last year for Easter Sunday. I may have not. I don't remember. And in case you need reminding how they determine Easter Sunday, Easter Sunday is determined as the first Sunday after the first full moon after the first day of spring. So you basically, if you played your cards right, you could have Easter Sunday like within a couple of days of the first day of spring. And if you don't play your cards right, like the full moon is the day before the first day of spring, then you've got to wait like an entire month, or maybe even sometimes like 5 weeks. First day of spring was a couple of weeks ago. And of course, a lot of people have been making fun of the fact that today is April Fool's Day and Easter falls on April Fool's. Yeah. Let's talk about some guy who rose from the dead, aka Rick Grimes would have a field day with that guy. Just kidding. Yeah, Rick Grimes, zombie killer extraordinaire. He probably would shoot any guy who came crawling out of the ground or out of a tomb. And that's actually that's one of the reasons why I got kicked out of Sunday school. I think I may have actually related this story once before. I was told, actually my parents were told when I was in 6th grade that I was not welcome back in Sunday school class because I kept asking too many potentially embarrassing questions. And the one that really got me going, the one that got me tossed was
you didn't tell us the first one, Hannah.
Was the fact that I had trouble believing that Lazarus could rise from the dead after being buried for several days. And no one in town would be weirded out by that shit. zombies walk among us. Yeah. I actually also brought up the fact that there was no way in hell Noah's Ark could work. Yeah, the nuns didn't like me. I found it difficult to believe that they could get 2 of every animal when most of the animals would have had to have swam oceans to get to Noah. And I think the one comment I had was, well, if they could swim the oceans, why would they worry about a flood? I know. You're supposed to accept it. You're not supposed to question. Yeah, it didn't work for me. It's I feel like a girl. I feel like I should be a girl. No, you're a boy. But I don't feel that way. I'm questioning my existence. Yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah, I bet you. What I'm really trying to see, this is kind of a benchmark test for me. I'm kind of gauging what's going to happen, how long it'll take once I finish streaming for the video to finish processing. Because in the past, when I do my Saturday morning videos, I generally will record them on my laptop and then upload them to YouTube and then post them over to my blog post. Well, that process of recording and uploading generally takes about 2 hours because I tend to talk for 40, 45 minutes, sometimes 50 minutes. And now, that takes over an hour to upload a video. I'm kind of trying to see if this is going to cut down on that time, live streaming, because they'll save it. It should give me an option to say, go ahead and save. And then I can take the link from this and move it over to my blog. And there you go. Damn good coffee. Just need a piece of cherry pie to go with this. But yesterday I went and saw Ready Player One with my friend Amy. After which we went out and got sushi and talked a lot. And I talked about some of my old days at Playboy and old days with my first and second wife. And I actually liked Ready Player One. I know some of my geek friends have kind of pissed all over the film without having seen it, just as they kind of pissed all over the book. I think their biggest complaint is the kind of slavish devotion to 1980s pop culture, which, was kind of the whole point of one of the characters of the book. The dude was a 1980s pop culture geek. Okay. No one really ever bitches that much about the fact that Kevin Smith has countless Star Wars references in his shit, because it's totally accepted that he's a Star Wars geek. So that's okay. But everybody loses their shit over the fact that you've got DeLoreans and King Kong, and you've got aliens, and somebody pointed out they don't like the fact that they're using the Iron Giant in the movie. It was kind of interesting to be able to pick out all the little Easter eggs. I saw Trancer a couple of times, which was the first thing that came to mind when I saw Trancer, especially at one of the points where there was a big battle going on, and the only thing I could think of was her famous misquote that people have put up: "Don't worry, love, the cavalry's queer." Yeah, it was there were some extraordinarily, I thought, cool moments in the movie. So I didn't quite piss all over it. And my friend Amy had actually read the book, and she was explaining to me afterwards, like, where major changes were done in the film as opposed to the book. So now I probably have to read the book, which, of course, many of my geek friends say is like the worst thing ever written. You know, I'm of the opinion, if I think it's going to be a terrible book or a terrible movie, I don't go see it, or I don't read it. And I usually don't have an opinion on it. I mean, I will be honest, I am not a Star Wars fan. I have stated that on numerous occasions. And my favorite movie out of the entire pantheon is The Empire Strikes Back. Because it really showed the fact that bad guys do sometimes win. And that everything is a struggle. And I think I would like The Last Jedi. Because basically it does the same thing. It just, I know the biggest complaint I've seen of the movie is that it pisses all over the franchise. And I think that's the whole idea. At some point, you have to deconstruct everything. And it's really all about, from what I've been able to perceive of the film, the old order just basically having to die off and let the new take over. And I did watch the scene online between Luke and Yoda, where Luke is basically told by Yoda, you know, the one thing we as masters want the most is for our students to go beyond us. That's really the whole point of this adventure. And, you know, they do make the comment, maybe the order as it used to be just needs to die off. And that's what they do. You know, anytime you have a film called The Last Jedi, you're basically saying, yeah, it's time to move on. And they're killing off the old order. And a lot of fans don't like that because it's sort of like, no, you're pissing all over what I love. Yeah, but sometimes you gotta kill what you love in order to make it fresh. Otherwise, you're just basically, you're fan masturbating, you know, and we're just giving the fans what they want, which a lot of fans are happy with. I kind of like shows and movies where they're not afraid, if you go over a series, to change things up as it goes along. One of my favorite episodic television shows was Blake 7, which I believe aired in England in the 70s, and they broadcast it here in the US. And I can remember watching it when I lived in South Haven, so it had to be late 1980s. And I believe it aired in England in the late 80s. And it's an excellent series. It's also probably one of the most low-budget shows there's ever been. You know, the special effects, as Beavis and Butthead once said, aren't very special. In fact, they're really, some of them are like so bad. You just look at it, you just roll your eyes. And apparently, yes, the BBC did film that show on like a shoestring. They had one section of corridor that was about 20 feet long, and the actors joked about how whenever they had to do a scene where it looked like they were running through the ship, the Liberator, for a long distance, they would run, then go back, run, go back, run, go back, run, go back, run, go back. And they'd have to do that like 5 or 6 times to make it look like, they were really running a long distance to the ship. And they said it was kind of ludicrous at times that You're only covering like 20 feet. So you're like basically sprinting your ass off 3 or 4 times. But one of the things that show did that was really unusual was it killed off main characters. One of the main characters, I can't think of his name now. I'm spacing on it. He died while they were doing poorly executed plan to destroy what they thought was the supercomputer that controlled the Federation. And Khan, that was who it and on the way out, trying to get away from the troops that had set a trap for them. One of the characters, Khan, he died. And then, surprises of all surprises, the guy who the show was named after, White, who was played by Gareth Thomas, he vanishes after the last episode of season 2. And the show ran for 4 seasons. And he vanished after the last episode. He decided that he wanted to go back into theater. So he said, no, I don't want to be on the show anymore. And so they left it open as this huge mystery as to what happened. There was a huge battle between invaders from Andromeda and the Liberator, which was a super powerful ass-kicking ship. And they actually lost like half their crew in that battle and ended up getting a couple new crew members. And Gareth Thomas managed to come in and do 2 cameos. One for the end of season 3 and one finally for the end of season 4, which was called Blake, where, no spoiler, well, it's no spoiler. I mean, this happened 30 years ago. He was killed. He said he wanted it so that there was no question whatsoever that he wasn't going to be coming back, and they killed him. He was shot. He was killed. And it actually ended up looking as if everyone was killed. They did that on purpose because they didn't know if they were coming back for season 5. So they said they wanted to leave the show on a cliffhanger as to who was actually going to return. I guess the intention was originally there would be a season 5, and most of the actors weren't going to come back. Well, then when they decided there wasn't going to be a season 5, it did look like they just murdered the entire crew. Oops. The only one who didn't die that we know of would have been the pilot of the Scorpio. And there's a real good possibility that he died from his injuries too. So, yeah, it was a show that was not afraid to kill off characters. It was real strange. BBC's always been kind of like that. BBC will throw curveballs at you for episodes. And in reality, there was actually supposed to be a crossover between that show and Doctor Who, because the end of season 2, which was the episode Star 1, where they found the supercomputer that was controlling the Federation way the hell outside the galaxy. And they found out it was surrounded by all these mines. And it wasn't just the planet that was surrounded by mines. It was actually, like, most of the galaxy was surrounded by mines. And there was, somebody had opened up a corridor and they discovered that there were all these spaceships from Andromeda trying to come in and invade the galaxy. So the Liberator blocked that corridor and got into a massive fight and destroyed most of the vessels. And in the process was damaged pretty severely itself. The crossover idea was going to be that the ships from Andromeda were actually Daleks. And the reason for that is Blake 7 was created by Terry Nation, who had left Doctor Who to create his own TV show. And Terry Nation is most famous for having created what alien on Doctor Who again? The Daleks. And so one of the next seasons of Doctor Who with Tom Baker was going to involve the TARDIS basically landing on Liberator and having a crossover episode with Blake 7 and Doctor Who, where the Doctor, Tom Baker, would have been helping out the crew of the Liberator, which would have been Paul Darrow, who played Avon, who, when you talk about anti-heroes, Avon was seriously the most sociopathic dude to ever be the lead character of a television show. He had absolutely no morals whatsoever. He had some of the wittiest, most cutting comebacks of anybody who's ever been on TV. But shit like murder was not a problem for him. In fact, there was one episode, I can't remember if it was season 3 or season 4. It might have been season 4. No, it was season 3 because they were still in the then. And they were flying a shuttle back. And it was Aaron, not Aaron, Avon. Oh God, I can't remember the other guy. It's all fuzzy. And the supercomputer ORAC, which was basically a plasticine box with like stuff inside it and glowing lights, and which was the nastiest, most ready to deliver a hot burn computer that ever existed. Villa was the other guy on board. So it was Avon, Villa, and ORAC. And they were in a shuttle that had been drained of some of its fuel. So they didn't have enough fuel to achieve orbit. And they're tossing shit out of the shuttle, trying to light it. And they finally get there, and ORAC says, based on my calculations, you're about 100 kilograms short. And Avon's like, I wonder where I'm going to get 100 kilograms from. And ORAC says something like, Villa weighs 110 kilograms. I think it was actually less like that. I think it was like they needed like 70 kilograms. And he says, Villa weighs 80. And Avon just gets this look on his face, and he pulls a pistol and he's going, Villa, come here. And Villa had heard all this, and he was like hiding in front of an air vent because he knew he was going to get smoked if he popped his head out. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, Avon didn't give a shit. He had absolutely no fucks to give. He was like that. It was funny. I loved it. The dude was completely sociopathic, basically turning into a psychopath at the end because everything with him was the unjustified demands. He basically murdered a scientist just so he could save his own ass, and didn't even bat an eye over it. So a lot of people feel that by the end of the series, he was like right on the edge of full-blown psychopathy. He was Riddick before there was ever a Riddick. In fact, he probably would have scared the shit out of Riddick. Riddick would have wanted to kill him real fast because he would have known competition when he saw it. Well, I'm done with the live stream. I think I'm done. I've been talking for almost 25 minutes. I really want to see how this thing works. And if this works well, this is how I'm going to do things at home from now on. It's really cool. And also, if you happen to get up early enough and you hop on my YouTube channel, you may actually see me doing this stuff. So I'll talk to you later. Everybody have a good day. Don't fall for too many April Fool's jokes, okay? Take care. Bye.